So Sylvain, what aspect of human rights is QCEA focused on?
So at QCEA, the human rights program focuses on migrants and asylum seekers and the situations they face when they come to Europe and also within Europe.
Okay, and Kate, so why should we focus on forced migration?
Well, from a personal point of view, it's the story of my Irish family who were forced to leave their homes for economic reasons. As Quakers, we believe that everyone has that of God in them, and we need to be able to respond to that of God in people who have been forced to leave their homes in this time. As Europeans, we accept our share of responsibility for the climate change, for the poverty, and for the wars that have forced these people to leave their homes.
And as Kate said, many people have fled their countries, and we have seen really huge numbers here, at least an unprecedented number coming to Europe. And against this backdrop of a still nascent economic recovery, the rise of populism, and the fear of violent extremism, European countries have decided to reacting to migration by adopting a policy which seemed to focus on stemming the flow of migrants and trying to increase as much as possible the returns of these migrants and asylum seekers. And the issue with such an approach is that sometimes the policies affect human rights standards, and it does lead to violation. And what we seek to do here at QCEA, we seek to make sure that those people have their rights respected and protected, and that they are treated as human beings in a dignified and respectful way.
And so what exactly are you doing about it?
So what we do, one part of our current stream of work at QCEA is child immigration detention. And as I said and told you that the current context was concerning, there is a risk that of an increased use of detention as a migration management tool. And since there is standards saying that no child should be detained because it affects their well-being and health, we really are trying to push policies to make sure that children have their rights respected, and that there are alternatives that state can use, and to show them that it can actually be managed without resorting to detention.
And my part of the work is focused more on bringing together Quakers throughout Europe who are doing similar kinds of work. For example, we have a group on Facebook, the Quaker Refugee Hub. The purpose of the hub is to let people doing similar work communicate directly with each other. We also have, we're forming a group of 4 Quaker psychotherapists who are developing trauma treatment programs and protocols for not only for refugees, but also for volunteers and other people who serve the refugees who have a lot of problems with secondary trauma themselves. And the third thing we're doing is we're planning an art exhibition here in Quaker House to put a human face on migration. And the idea there is to bring into the house people who make policies about migration, who see numbers all the time, and to show them the individual stories and the art that people create, and to let them actually meet individuals rather than just deal with numbers. And we're scoping a project to develop humanitarian corridors. It's a program that already exists in some countries, and we're scoping it in a couple of new countries. We hope to have those going soon.
And what exactly are humanitarian corridors?
Humanitarian corridors is a safe and legal way to bring people into the EU. As we know, many people die on the route. Sadly, the safest way, the safest route that they have into the EU are the people smugglers, and that's a very, very dangerous way to get here. With humanitarian corridors, we can bring people in. We get limited territorial visas for them. They are then able to enter Europe legally with their families and with their possessions. And they come and they're welcomed by a sponsoring group, a school, a church, an organization. And that group then helps them, gives them a path to integration in the community that they wouldn't have otherwise. And the third advantage of humanitarian corridors is that the families get to stay together. They don't have to send the strongest one who might survive the journey and leave the family back home.